Welcome back to EPSVD, the place where we break down your favorite TV shows with deep dives and hidden details you might have missed. Today, we're talking about The Big Bang Theory, young Sheldon, and the brand new spin-off Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. And trust me, this one is going to tug at your heartstrings. What if I told you that Sheldon's absence in First Marriage Season 1 actually makes one of the saddest Big Bang Theory storylines even more heartbreaking? When Georgie and Mandy's first marriage launched, it had one major challenge: how to set itself apart from young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory. And the answer was simple: no Sheldon. By removing him from Season 1's main storyline, the spin-off was finally able to focus on Georgie, Mandy, and the rest of the Coopers. But here's the heartbreaking part. This creative choice sets up one of the saddest threads we've seen throughout Sheldon's story in The Big Bang Theory. Remember Sheldon's disdain for holidays? Especially Thanksgiving? In TBBT, he always gave different reasons for not celebrating. But after First Marriage Season 1, it's clear there's a much deeper pain behind it. In the spin-off, Georgie, Missy, and Mary spend Thanksgiving at George Sr.'s grave, coming together as a family, grieving, and healing. But Sheldon wasn't there. His absence at that moment symbolizes his growing estrangement from the Coopers, something that The Big Bang Theory later shows us again and again. And this isn't just about a missed holiday dinner. It's about Sheldon never truly getting to share in the family's grief, never getting closure with his siblings, and never healing alongside them. Instead, he buried that pain, moved to California, and found comfort in his chosen family: Leonard, Penny, Raj, Howard, Amy, and Bernadette. But when you look back, the crack started here, with his absence in First Marriage. Now, if Sheldon ever does appear in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, it's bound to be heartbreaking. Because his distance from the Coopers isn't just physical, it's emotional. His siblings move forward together, while Sheldon's grief isolates him, shaping the character we meet years later in TBBT. And that's what makes this spin-off so powerful. It's not just telling Georgie and Mandy's story. It's rewriting how we view Sheldon's journey and making his flaws, his quirks, and yes, even his coldness around the holidays so much more tragic.
So what do you think?
Should Sheldon eventually show up in First Marriage, or is it better that his absence continues to tell this story in silence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. One TBBT story makes Sheldon's absence in First Marriage Season 1 sadder. Sheldon's absence from Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 helped the young Sheldon spinoff find its footing, but it also set in motion one heartbreaking story that returned repeatedly in The Big Bang Theory. First Marriage, sharing many of its characters with young Sheldon, made distancing itself from the parent series extremely necessary, especially in regards to Sheldon Cooper. Sheldon's centrality in The Big Bang Theory first and young Sheldon later meant Georgie and Mandy would have been the first spin-off whose focus wasn't on the socially inept genius at all. This made Sheldon's absence essential in First Marriage Season 1, as the spin-off couldn't have relied too heavily on the genius. However, this inevitably kick-started one sad TBBT story. Sheldon's absence from First Marriage Season 1 can explain his disdain for the holidays in TBBT. The Big Bang Theory always attributed a different reason to Sheldon's disdain for each holiday, with only Halloween being a happy occasion because of how acceptable for the gang to get dressed up as their favorite superheroes was, even doing so as a team. However, the reasoning behind Sheldon's opposition to celebrating Thanksgiving becomes sadder after First Marriage Season 1. Sheldon's initial refusal to celebrate Thanksgiving in Big Bang Theory Season 7, Episode 9 was motivated by his wish to keep to his traditions, which included complaining about Leonard's food rather than a party at Mrs. Wolowitz. Young Sheldon Season 2, Episode 9, its only Thanksgiving episode, already showed how the holiday wasn't necessarily a happy one for the Coopers. The Big Bang Theory only had two Thanksgiving-themed episodes, one in Season 7, Episode 9, The Thanksgiving Decoupling, and another in Season 9, Episode 9, The Platonic Permutation. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1, Episode 5 kept this unfortunate tradition alive at the beginning, with Mary not wanting to celebrate Thanksgiving. However, The day ended heartwarmingly because of Georgie, Missy, and Mary's picnic by George Sr.'s tombstone, which let the Coopers mark the occasion in a way that also acknowledged their loss. Still, Sheldon couldn't join them. Sheldon's absence from First Marriage Season 1, Episode 5 sadly highlighted his inevitable estrangement from the Coopers. While Mary kept being in his life, Georgie and Missy rarely appeared. Their disconnection is addressed repeatedly in TBBT, but seeing the Coopers grieve George together makes it especially heartbreaking, knowing that Sheldon never had the chance to experience that with his family. Sheldon's prospective first marriage visit is doomed to set up his separation from the Coopers. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage being set right after young Sheldon makes seeing the Coopers grieve for George Sr. almost a certainty. First Marriage Season 1 already showed Georgie taking so many steps forward in mourning the Cooper patriarch. However, this was something Sheldon couldn't do with his family, and TBBT showed that he also didn't alone. George's death in young Sheldon revealed that the tragedy shook Sheldon to his core, with him rehashing his last conversation with his father repeatedly. Moving to California made dismissing the loss easier, as it projected Sheldon toward his future, and how Sheldon spoke of George in TBBT highlighted that he focused on their relationships, less emotional aspects. While Big Bang Theory's timeline couldn't show how the immediate aftermath of George Sr.'s death was for Sheldon, First Marriage can, whenever Sheldon returns in the Young Sheldon spinoff. Sheldon and the rest of the Coopers' different approach to grieving George will likely be even more evident, along with Sheldon's transformation in the TBBT version of the character. This will sadly make Sheldon's prospective visit to Georgie and Mandy's first marriage even more heartbreaking, as the separation between him and the Coopers will have to be evident, or his finding his chosen family could not have happened as it did in the Big Bang Theory. Enjoy Screen Rant's primetime coverage? Click below to sign up for our weekly network TV newsletter and get the inside scoop from actors and showrunners on your favorite series. Thanks for watching this video.